Good afternoon, Southern Maryland. I'm aspiring meteorologist John Bordash with you right now to give you the latest update on Hurricane Joaquin and the potential impacts we could have here across the mid-Atlantic later on this weekend into early parts of next week. First, though, I'll start you off with the infrared satellite picture. And an infrared satellite picture is taking the satellite picture and looking at the thunderstorm activity, measuring how cold the thunderstorm tops are. Basically, this is like a radar picture. We don't have radar out in this part of the world that we can access, so we have to rely on this infrared satellite picture to show us how strong those thunderstorms are. Brighter the colors, the stronger the thunderstorms are, the stronger the storm is. Works almost exactly like a normal radar would that I would show you. And I'll also show you the current stats. Right now, winds set at 80 miles an hour. That's a mid-range category 1. But what I want you to notice is this pressure. Pressure is another way we determine how strong a storm is. Lower the number, stronger the storm. That 971 pressure is indicative of what a category 2 storm, borderline category 3, would have. So this tells me we are looking at a rapidly intensifying system, and it will continue to do so over the next 72 hours. I see no reason why it wouldn't. The water temperatures are really warm out in this part of the world, and that's what this storm needs to thrive. Now let me show you what we're talking about going forward and what's making this forecast so difficult. We have three things we're watching. The first thing, well, we're watching the jet stream, we're watching a strong high, and we're watching Ida's remains. First, I'll talk about the jet stream, which is this blue line that has the white arrows on it. The white arrows anywhere on the map are steering winds. So with the jet stream, the steering winds are coming like this. So up in the atmosphere, that's the way the winds are going, that's how things are working. Without the hurricane even being a thing, this non-tropical system down in the southeast would bring us a lot of rain and a lot of wind. And that's moving up the coast. Without Joaquin, again, we would still see a very wet Friday and Saturday. Joaquin introduces the idea of a wet Sunday, a wet Monday. So that's what Joaquin's doing to this non-tropical system. They're going to almost kind of try to combine and produce impacts for a prolonged period. Where this jet stream sets up, and I think it will say something like this, would determine where Joaquin goes. If you just look at this, you would assume that Joaquin is going to follow this jet stream. It has no reason not to. It would go right into the coast, which would not be good for us. The second thing we're watching is this strong high. If that strong high were to weaken a little bit or move further up to the north, this storm would have a little bit more wiggle room to maybe come up the coast, maybe into New Jersey and affect the New England states, which would be a better case scenario for us here in the Mid-Atlantic, but no walk in the park. Now the next thing, Ida's remains, and Ida was a previous hurricane we had earlier on last week. Ida's remains are the most important thing going through the next 3 days that will determine if this storm comes up into the East Coast and produces devastating impacts or goes out to sea. If you don't want a hurricane, and many don't, you need Ida's remains out here to be stronger and interact with Joaquin even more. Right now, let me show you our visible satellite. Here's Joaquin, here are Ida's remains. And we have Ida right up through here. Right now, Joaquin is moving to the south and west, and that's because Ida's remains are pushing it to the south and west, which was forecasted. If Ida wasn't even a thing, Joaquin would already be moving north or northwest. Ida's remains are pushing it to the south and west, which is what we're expecting to happen over the next day and a half. If Ida's remains get stronger, that southwesterly push will continue. And that jet stream I was showing you that goes right up like that to bring it into the coast, what would happen is that this would move so far south that the jet stream would pick it up and just eject it. It wouldn't have to deal with the high pressure or the jet stream, it just goes out to sea. Do I think that's going to happen? Personally, no. I think that chance has about a 25% chance of happening. Although it's still on the table, some of our weather models last night even showed that scenario. So here's what I'm thinking. We have about a 25% chance of this happening, which means we have a 75% chance of this moving north right up into the coast. I think the jet stream overpowers this. Ida's remains aren't really that big of a factor, and it comes right up the coast. But again, we'll have to see. Things have continued to change. Now, here is how we're looking at Joaquin right now with its track and the forecast. I know you can't see the bottom part of the graphic, my apologies, but I'll explain everything. Joaquin is sitting right down through here right now as a Category 1 as I showed. Again, over the next, through Friday, it's not going to move all that much. It's going to stay down towards the bottom of your screen. That's going to allow it to strengthen. By Friday, we're talking about a Category 2 storm that's strong. By Saturday, we're talking about a Category 3 major hurricane. Not good news for us. What is good news, as it heads up the coast, it will begin to weaken. You see Category 2, Category 2 here with 105-mile-an-hour winds, Category 1 here, storm right here in this general vicinity. Now what I want you to really notice here is that area of gray. That is the forecast cone. The center of Joaquin could either be out here or it could be in here, anywhere in between. So I don't want you to just focus where those icons are, because we have a few different scenarios if it comes up the coast, and I'll show you that right now. If Joaquin were to come up the coast, I just remain trying to think, which I think that will happen. We have two different scenarios. The first one is that it makes landfall further to our north in New Jersey. So this is where we would have a potential landfall, right in here. And that's if the high allows it to come that far north. If that happens, that puts the worst of the conditions right in through here, where Hurricane Sandy had the biggest impacts. Now, if that high stays where it is, comes up the coast, it's going to be making landfall more like somewhere down through here. If that happens, that is the worst case scenario. With the first one, which I'll label A, if that were to happen, it would not be all that great, but that would put the worst conditions up towards the north. If it makes landfall to our south, that puts those worst conditions right through our region. Let me write that out. Worst conditions right through our region. And right now I'm thinking it's going to make a landfall to our south. So this is a very dangerous situation we could have setting up. I don't want anyone to panic just yet. What I want to see is a few more model runs to come in. I want to see what the 5 o'clock track looks like. If it looks the way it does right now, and it hugs track B, then I'm going to start raising a red flag. But right now, we just need to prepare. We need to watch. We're still, I want to say that's 4 or 5 days out. It wouldn't be making landfall until Monday. So we have until Monday to prepare. It will be raining, though, Friday. And that's not from Joaquin, that's from our non-tropical system. So here's the bottom line. The intensity. It will likely become a major hurricane to our south. It will probably weaken as it comes up the coast, but again, likely a major hurricane as it continues to rapidly strengthen. Secondly, the track. This is what we have uncertainties about. A U.S. landfall is a real possibility. It has a 75% chance of happening. But if Ida's remains become stronger and interact with Joaquin even more, then we're talking about a storm that goes out to sea and we see no impacts. My forecast busts, which I mean I wouldn't like, but the human side of me would much rather that happen. And lastly, the impacts. Even without Joaquin, we are looking at heavy rain, high winds, flooding possible from that non-tropical system. Joaquin only adds to that. I want you to stay tuned because this is going to be a very interesting forecast we have setting up. I'll have a blog post out later on this afternoon after the 5 o'clock advisory detailing my updated thoughts, and that'll also serve as a tool for people who can't watch the videos and don't want to sit through a 9 or 10-minute video of me talking. So we have a lot to watch right now. Again, we're not panicking, we are watching, we are preparing. Continue to share the word about JB Weather. You can get our latest forecast on Twitter at JB_weather. On Facebook, you can go to our website, which is wxjohn.weebly.com. So WeatherJohn, WX is just a short abbreviation for weather. So wxjohn.weebly.com. My updated thoughts there as we go later on. Again, stay tuned. I'm aspiring meteorologist John Bordash. Have a nice and safe one, Southern Maryland, and I'll continue to keep you updated.